What is going on, everyone? I realized after the recording that my audio or my microphone was not on, so it was taking my computer microphone. So audio might not be as good on my end on this episode, but still think this is a really fun podcast talking all things Major League Baseball final weekend. Audio quality just might not be as good on my end this time, but it's going to be better tomorrow for our playoff preview episode. Nonetheless, hope you guys enjoy. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me on this Game 162, last Sunday of the regular season, is Luis Barranco. Luis, the regular season's in the books. Postseason is fully set.
It is. It was a very anticlimactic weekend in my book of 160, 161, and 162. We finally got some resolution on the races, and it was a great season. I wanted to come on and highlight a few things before we begin. I'm thankful for the baseball gods giving us a healthy full season of Jacob deGrom, a healthy season of Byron Buxton, and don't forget, Mike Trout was pretty healthy this year. We didn't see a season-ending Mike Trout injury. So, I mean, we got a lot of really good players that usually miss out, play good seasons, and I'm pretty happy with that. There's been a lot of things that have happened in MLB this year. So I'll ask you, what was your favorite moment this year out of the season?
Favorite moment, it's tough to pin down one. I would say this is a while ago now. I think it was back in May, but when Ellie De La Cruz's sister passed away, and then he still hit a home run in that very game, in that day. The fact that he was even playing, he went through a lot this year, so that one it definitely stands out. I believe he played all 162 this season as well, so he was battling injury and obviously some stuff going on in his personal life. That's one that stands out. I think Mike Trout, I know it was kind of forgotten, kind of irrelevant, but it was nice to see him hit 400, career home run number 400 toward the end of this season. So those are two that stand out. Obviously, all the Yankee good games from the Yankees. There were a lot of that Cubs Diamondbacks game way back in I think May. That was a fun one. So there were a lot. I don't know. What about you?
There's just too many to think of. I mean, I truly just thought about the ebbs and flows of what is the MLB season. Again, we as people who watch baseball often sometimes get lost in the sauce, and I know people who are fans of baseball forget it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We can take the New York Yankees for an example. They started off really freaking hot, and then they ended up collapsing right in the middle of the season. Everybody was like, even you were like, are they making the playoffs? Are they making the playoffs? To now they're in the playoffs, riding high. And then there's other teams like the New York Mets, which started out as one of the MLB's best with a huge $300 million plus payroll, highest paid player in the game, and they couldn't get it done when it mattered at the end of the season. So, I mean, that's just some things I like. I mean, man, if you would have told me we would have seen a season like this, no scandals, just good baseball, I think everybody would have been happy.
No scandals. Yeah, not one scandal this season. Can't think of a single one.
Which one? I mean, the only one that I could think of was, okay, there's torpedo bats at the start of the season. That was one. Other than torpedo bats, who else was it? I don't know.
We had the Ohtani real estate thing, which I feel like hasn't gotten as much publicity as maybe it should. We also had the Guardians gambling ring, whatever they got going on over there. I think that is part, and we'll get to obviously all the series breaking things down. I feel like that's one a huge storyline this season of the Guardians. Not only did they come back from 15 and a half games to ultimately win the division, they could have actively had players trying to throw games or trying to actively harm the team in some way during points of the season.
That is crazy to think about.
And they still made it in.
And it was their best closer too, and it was a starting pitcher. I don't think there was any scandal bigger than Ohtani bets.
Yeah, I mean, okay, and also like with the Guardians, it's not like they were scrubs. Like you said, Class A, one of the best closers in the league. Luis Ortiz was a good, young, promising arm. We might never see them play in Major League Baseball ever again. I saw Clase was getting ready for the Dominican League, I think, this week, so he's not coming back. Again, Guardians kind of against all odds. They came back and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They won the division. That was definitely a scandal that stood out this year, though. I think that's probably the biggest one.
That was back in July. Who was another one that they caught gambling? There was like 3 that they caught gambling. It was Ortiz, Clase, and then a third player, non-Guardian, around the same time period, end of July, early August.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember.
That's crazy.
That did happen. So yeah, just teeing up this podcast. Obviously, today was the last day of the regular season, so we're going to be putting a bow on the regular season. We're obviously going to be recapping the final weekend of baseball from every series. Obviously the ones that had playoff implications, but also putting a bow on team seasons that maybe they didn't make the playoffs. But some final thoughts before we head into the offseason on those teams as well. Or before we head into the playoffs, but ultimately for them, it's the offseason. A bunch of fan bases today was their last day watching their favorite team play, and they're not going to see them play until next March. So, a long offseason ahead for some of those teams. We're going to be putting some final thoughts on them. Going to be talking about the weekend that was, our playoff preview. This is not a playoff preview episode. We are going to be doing that episode tomorrow evening. So it'll be in your inbox Monday morning, late Monday night. So stay tuned for that as well. Obviously, very excited for that. Got a lot to get to today. Obviously, I thought it was a fun weekend of baseball. Not necessarily any crazy game that stood out, but I think the results did stand out. Obviously, there are some more than others. But I thought it was a good, the fact that there were so many important games, meaningful games heading into the final day of the regular season, game 162, just tells you that there are no such thing, or there is no such thing as an irrelevant game in March, an irrelevant game, a meaningless game in April. Every single game means something. So as fans, I think you absolutely have right to, and when your team loses a heartbreaker in April, you absolutely can be angry about that, because look at the Yankees. They had a handful. I mean, you can count them on 3 hands plus 4 hands how many painful losses the Yankees had this season. And shoot, they finished tied for the second best record in the American League, and they're going to be playing in the wild card series, losing the division off a tiebreaker. So every game means something, and we saw that this season yet again.
Those Yankee way losses.
So many.
I mean, we lost track after the first month and a half.
We did. We stopped
after the first month and a half. The Detroit games, everything. It was just nuts. But where do you want to start? Do you just want to put the Yankee recap quickly first, or do you want to just get to the meat, what people want to listen to right now?
Yeah, I don't think
the races.
I don't think we have to start with the Yankees today, because it was not the headline. I think the headline is in the National League in that wild card, and then we can go to the American League and talk about that.
Let's talk about the collapse at the Fortress. Can you cue my music? The collapse at the Fortress that is Depot Park. And you understand, I was out having a cup of coffee yesterday, Saturday morning, and I was hanging out, and I saw all the Mets fans with all the smiles. And I'm like, oh boy. I was having a nice New York bagel, an all black, with a black cup of coffee. You understand, it was the funeral. I was preparing their funeral as we speak. I was like, here we go. The New York Mets ended up losing 2 out of 3. Can we just talk about how bad they looked? Not even they looked. It's just how bad of a showing. I mean, losing to the Marlins, season on the line, you lose Friday 6-2, Sandy Alcantara. They batted around in the inning, went like crazy. 3-hit game for Xavier Edwards, had the Humberto Hernandez triple. Like, they just batted around that whole inning. Then Saturday they got the win 5-0. Yuri was okay, not great.
Career high in strikeouts, 11.
And then today they lose 4-0. They were not good. William, 2020 according to Underdog Sports MLB, 2025 Mets season, $341 million in payroll. Best record in the majors through June 12th. And they ended up with the 5th worst record after that. They would have made the playoffs if they would have won today.
Yep.
They had everything to play for. So
yeah, you go into Miami and you score 7 runs in 3 games.
And as I say that, the MLB season keeps on giving. The last game to go, Brian Rocchio just hit a walk-off 3-run home run, giving the Guardians the AL Central at home.
They had it clinched before that, but
absolute cinema. extra innings. Brian Roca, I'm seeing it on my television screen right now. Just hit it out to right field. Guardians win. Guardians are now the 3 seed, heading into the playoffs as the hottest team in the majors. But we'll talk about them later. But talk about the Mets. This has to be one of the biggest collapses that we've seen.
It is, yeah. I mean, obviously you had the Tigers losing the division, but at least the Tigers made the playoffs. The thing, man, I have so many thoughts on the Mets, so many thoughts, and I'm going to try to be rational here. Obviously, I am a Yankee fan. I'm going to try to come at this level-headed for a little bit at least, because I know that people, we got to be even keel here. But nonetheless, you mentioned the payroll. You go out and you spend this offseason. You go out and you spend almost $1 billion, literally almost $1 billion on one player. And is Juan Soto one of the most talented players in the league? Yes, he had an insane season, probably the best season of his career after a pretty rough start. Had he not had that rough start, oh my goodness. I mean, we very well could have been pushing Ohtani for the MVP in the National League. Alonso, another really good year from Alonso. I actually just saw a tweet that he's opting out of his player option, so he's going to be a free agent officially. Kind of weird how that was announced. He must have been talking to the media post-game. You have Juan Soto. You give him $1 billion, and you have a $340+ million payroll. That's well north of the $300 million mark. It's a ludicrous amount of money. And unfortunately for them, Mets fans, they didn't invest really anything in starting pitching this offseason. And that's really what came back to bite them. The lineup was there. The lineup was fine. Obviously, it struggled at times, as lineups do. But starting pitching was just such a big question mark for this team this whole year. And that's what happens when you invest so much money in one player. Again, is Juan Soto worth that much money? He's arguably yes. Again, I still think it's a ludicrous amount of money. He's going to have to be producing at that level for the entirety of the contract to be worth that much money, or they got to win multiple World Series under that contract. But to have such a big payroll and to miss the playoffs I think it's a failure on ownership in the front office because of just how short-sighted it was to spend so much money on one player and not invest in other areas of the team that matter. Pitching matters. Obviously, yes, you have a good lineup, but pitching matters. The bullpen matters. They didn't really do much at the trade deadline. Ryan Helsley, Cedric Mullins. The team didn't get better at the deadline, and they were struggling at that point in the season. Looking at all the top teams in the top 5 of payroll, every single team except the Mets made the playoffs this offseason this season. And then you have teams like the Reds, Milwaukee, Cleveland. All those teams are in the bottom third of payroll, and they all made the playoffs. The Marlins had the lowest payroll in all of baseball this season, and they beat the Mets to knock them out of the playoffs. So yes, payroll matters, but building a cohesive team is what's more important, a complete team. So I'm going to be very curious to see what this front office does this offseason. Is Cohen going to is this going to anger him, and is he going to go out and just spend recklessly again? Because, he kind of has endless money, endless pockets. He has the cash to go out and do so. Or, he spent so much money on Juan Soto. There is the luxury tax thresholds that they're obviously well over. Is he going to limit spending this offseason? Because there's no denying it. They got to go out and get starting pitching. I don't know if re-signing Pete Alonso is going to be, I don't know if it should be offseason priority number 1 for them, just because of the weakness they have in the starting rotation. So this was an epic collapse. Again, so many thoughts on it, but I'm curious to see what you have to say. Coming from the Marlins side of things, obviously you were very tapped into that team this season.
Can we just lock in on the Mets for once? Let's look at their offseason moves. I think they need to be looked at. Jose Siri got DFA'd, and they left him in Chicago. I don't know if you saw his Instagram. It was hilarious because they DFA'd him, and he posted of him shopping and the Mets down here in Miami. Okay,
that's funny.
Okay, that's one. Sean Manaea, we all know that Sean Manaea was out on the 60-day IL to start the year with the right oblique strain. Frankie Montas, UCL injury, missed the rest of the season this year. Okay, AJ Minter was one of their offseason acquisition, missed the season because he had left lat muscle surgery. Griffin Canning, Achilles injuries. A lot of the guys they acquired really didn't make a difference, and I don't know how they can, if Cohen's going to spend that money and go crazy and spend on free agent pitchers. We've seen that they've spent money before on pitchers with Scherzer and with Verlander. And how did that work? Now they spent money on Ohtani and they bargain binned and tried to piece it through Soto. Sorry, they tried to bargain bin it and do it with these guys that they did this year. Clay Holmes is like cool, but is Clay Holmes a guy you're really relying on the playoffs? He's like a fourth or fifth pitcher in your rotation. Yeah. And so my whole point is like, in reality, their offseason was really Juan Soto. They were literally the same team from last year with Juan Soto. And last year they got hot at the end, which is crazy. And they had the, oh my God, grimace mimic that went ridiculous. So, when you really, really do look at it, this has to be an organizational malpractice for not going and acquiring arms. And I understand that you have arms in the system that like Brandon Sproat, Noah McLean, and Jonah Tong, but those guys aren't ready to pitch in the big moments in the postseason. And when you're in the postseason, you need guys with veteran experience or guys that have been reliant throughout the year. And you've been literally putting, it's like what you call that, the glue.
Yeah, that meme where the water's gushing out of the
tape. You're just really putting flex tape, taping all your things up. You're literally a raft right now. The Mets were literally a raft at the end of the season, just putting 2x4s, hoping that they float.
They were screaming at us since June that they weren't a good baseball team. I mean, they finished below 500 since a certain point in June. I can't remember the exact date, but they have not been a good team for 3-4 months at this point. And again, it boils down to starting pitching. I mean, as a Mets fan, I would be just so furious because just spend that much money and not even make the playoffs. And the fact that Juan Soto said that he thinks the Mets give them a better chance to win than the Yankees, and they don't Major League Baseball is practically like trying to let every team in the playoffs at this point. It feels like with the third wild card, and to have a top 2 payroll in all of baseball not even make it, it's unfathomable to me. Maybe we should have seen it coming into the regular season because of just the lack of starting pitching. But, I took their under. I think it was at like 90.5. So that cashed. But I just can't believe it. It's still, it's not like the Reds played well down the stretch. I mean, the Reds won a series in freaking Milwaukee to end the season. But it's not like the Mets were playing barnstorming baseball like a Cleveland in the American League. The Reds they did it. There were multiple times throughout the season where it felt like the Reds were going to be done. It's just, this is fully a Mets collab more than a story about the Reds just having an amazing September.
And Francona had them, had them pretty well, managed. And does this fall on Joe Espada or does this fall on the players?
Carlos Mendoza. I always get those two confused too.
I confuse it. Does it fall? My question to you is now, does it fall on Carlos Mendoza or does it fall on the players of the Mets?
It's the players that play the game, but who they're gonna lay the blame on, the front office. I'd be very surprised if he's their manager next year.
What do you do to fix the team? Go sign Dylan Cease. Go Michael King, Dylan Cease.
Right, and the thing is, I feel like there really isn't a starting pitching free agent this offseason that is going to make obviously there are guys that can make an impact on the rotation next year and can improve, but it's not like there's a headline guy that they're going to go out and give $300 million to. Brandon Woodruff, but he's got a mutual option, I believe, with Milwaukee. Michael King, he's got some type of option too. Obviously, the big one's Framber, but I don't know. Do you really want to bring in Framber with that's another team that missed the playoffs. He was good this season, but there's some stuff, it seems like, off the field with him, attitude-wise. I think what's going to happen is they're going to trust those 3 guys, the young pitchers, develop them. They'll probably be in the rotation for a full season. Maybe they sign someone in this offseason, but very, very, very fascinating to see what they do this offseason. They finished 11-17 in August and 10-15. I don't know if that record in September includes today, but 10-15 or 10-16 in September. Just a lot of pressure on Cohen again this offseason, and to miss the playoffs is just, like I said, I can't believe it. I do feel for the Mets fans. I feel for the fans. For Soto, do you even think Soto cares? Probably not.
Soto got $800 million in the bank. Like, do you think he cares? He got the Brinks truck coming. So, it is what it is. It's a story. Poor Mets. Poor Mets, as I would like to say.
It's the Mets. Mets are going to Met.
Mets are going to Met. I think that's the story. They got to get over it. But let's talk about the Reds. Let's give some credit to the Reds, as you said. Reds this weekend went and played Milwaukee. Reason why this podcast is coming out a little late, I had a couple phone calls and people called me, text me while I was getting ready. Reds won 2 out of 3. Friday they won 3-1. But Saturday they won 7-4. Again, great series by the Reds. Brewers won 4-2 today. Playoff bound since 2020, but 2020 was that COVID season. So really 2013. I mean, what a story. Terry Francona, he's like, a cockroach. You can't kill him. He always comes and brings a young team, or any team that he manages, always finds a way to make the playoffs. I mean, the Reds, throughout the stretch, they've been getting contributions from young guys like Sal Stewart. They've remade pitchers like Andrew Abbott's been pitching great. They got Hunter Green back healthy. They got Nick Martinez pitching meaningful moments out there like he did last night on Saturday night. And they also have Brady Singer, who pretty much they gave him up for, I don't want to say scraps, but Brady Singer was a lost cause in Kansas City. They traded one lost cause for another in India and Brady Singer. And he's been pitching pretty well. He pitched decent today. I mean, obviously they lost today, but he went 3 1/3, 3 earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and 70 pitches. I mean, shout out to the Reds getting it done, controlling their own destiny, and that's what we want to see in the playoffs. We want to see teams grab the life by the horns. We want to see them go take control and do what they do best: control your destiny and win.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team that did not control their destiny heading into the weekend, and they won that Friday game. Boom, that gives them control of their own destiny, and they won a huge game on Saturday to win that series officially in Milwaukee. They lost today, but to go into the best, a team with the best record in all of baseball, the Brewers finished with 97 wins, which is a career franchise high. To go in there and win a series, I know the Brewers weren't really pitching their A guys. They actually used Jacob Mizorowski out of the bullpen on Sunday, which seems like he's going to be in the pen for the playoffs, which is interesting. But still, a lot of pressure on them, young team heading into that series, and they got it done. I mean, hats off to the Reds. Another guy, good trade deadline acquisition, was Miguel Andujar from the Athletics. He crushes lefties, had a 3-hit game on Saturday. So that was good. I saw today, actually, that there was a report that they were in on Josh Naylor at the deadline. Ultimately, obviously, did not get him, but seems like the front office was active. Seems like apparently I was listening to SiriusXM, MLB Network Radio, and they had a guy on from a Reds reporter, and they said that the front office has spent pretty much every single penny that the ownership group has given them this season. So they went all in this season with what they were given, and they made the playoffs. So hats off to them. And let's see what they do. You talked about it all season long. It's not a rotation you want to face in the playoffs, and they're going out to LA, playing with house money, man. Totally playing with house money, nothing to lose. All the pressure's on the Dodgers. It's a best 2 out of 3 series. Anything can happen. And, it's going to be Hunter Green game 1. So let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. And I mean, the other thing we have to talk about is they got it done against a Brewers team that, like, in the recent history, I even mentioned this on a podcast in recent history, they haven't been great against. Again, this year they went 5-8 in 2025. Last year they went 4-9. They went 3-10 in 2023, 6-13 in 2022, in 2021, 9-10. They haven't had a winning record against the Brewers since 2020. And again, asterisk COVID year. And before that, 2019, 2018, 2017, all losing records against the Brewers. So, I mean, hats off to them going into Milwaukee. It's always been a team that, I've talked to some of my really close friends that still live that are Reds fans, that we always look at Milwaukee as that juju team. Everybody has like that one juju team. And that juju team for the Reds is those Milwaukee Brewers. So,
yeah, that's a team that's dominated the Reds, and they were able to get over the hump when it mattered most in the playoffs for the first time since 2020. But the first time they were in the real playoffs was 2013. So it's been pretty much, if you don't count 2020, it's been over a decade since they've had a home game in the playoffs with fans in the stands. Obviously, that's not guaranteed yet because they're going on the road to play the Dodgers. But if they somehow get through that, there will be a home playoff game in Cincinnati for the first time since 2013.
Oh, and it will be rocking. I can guarantee that. And let's now that we're on talking about that series, I mean, they'll face the Dodgers. Dodgers this weekend played Seattle in their final tune-up. They swept them. Wasn't even close. It was a sweep, and it was 3-2 on Friday, 5-3 on Saturday, and 6-1 on Sunday.
Yeah.
So they're ready to go. They're rocking. They'll be primed and fueled up to go and get Cincinnati.
So Cal Raleigh finishes the season with 60 homers. We don't need to talk MVP today. I think we'll talk about that debate after the playoffs are over, once the dust settles and we can really focus on the awards and everything. Josh Naylor reaches 30 stolen bases, fourth first baseman in history with a 20 home run, 30 stolen base season. Impressive from him. Glasnow 3 innings and a tune-up start on Saturday. Kershaw with his final start of the regular season, probably his final start ever. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts on Sunday. He's not going to be on their wild card roster. So if they do get past the Reds, I would think he'll be on the team in the DS. But again, the Mariners, I don't think cared about this series. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but like half the team was at the Washington football game on Saturday before they played. They were kind of checked out. They had their celebrations and everything on Thursday. So they were kind of a hangover series. They did not care all that much.
It's who's the least hungover is essentially with some of the games how it was these days.
Yeah, at the end of the season, there's a lot of those games. You see a lot of lineups where it's like, ooh.
Yeah, some of these lineups are just crazy. I mean, we can also talk about, now that we're talking about the NL, let's just wrap up put a bow on the NL. Arizona had a valiant fight to the end. They played the Padres, but the Padres swept them 7-4 on Friday, 5-1, 12-4. Very interesting. I'm actually we're big Arizona fans on this pod. Very interested to see what Arizona does this offseason. We saw them clear that Jordan Montgomery money. Zach Gallen is a free agent. They put up a fight playing with house money. They got rid of everybody, and they still managed a way to be there till the end. They were eliminated from contention on Friday night. But, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Do they go out and spend again, or do they go and just retool in a slight manner? I don't know, because the Giants are going to be spending for one. San Diego's probably going to be back. LA will be back. And, the Centrals, the Reds are going to be there again. Brewers, Cubs, East is going to all be there. So it'll be interesting what Arizona does to stay in contention and be up there with the big boys.
Yeah, a lot of guys off the books for them this offseason. Obviously, Zach Gallen, and then pretty much everybody they traded at the deadline, Naylor, Suarez. They already got rid of those guys, but, kind of going to be looking like a different team next season than what they started with this year. So we talked about it last time. I didn't think they were going to make it, but it was a valiant effort to the finish to even be in it, given the situation they were in and all the injuries and the trades and stuff like that. But the Tatis grand slam on Friday night was the nail in the coffin. Electric.
Yeah.
Electric.
I was watching that. It'll be interesting. My thing with San Diego is just the consistency factor. They did a really good job versus Arizona and how they get Chicago, which will be like who pitches better, which we'll talk about more tomorrow. Chicago ended up sweeping the Cardinals Friday, winning 11-1. PCA got a 30-30 season. Yeah. Saturday, they won 7-3. They got home field versus the Padres, and then they won today 2-0. So be very interesting to see that Padres-Cubs series. It's going to be one of the more slept-on series. I'll be tuned in because you'll be tuned in, essentially.
I'm not going anymore because MLB gave them the Texans treatment. They gave them the central block treatment, and
they got the Tubi. They got the Tubi treatment.
They got the Tubi treatment. They're putting the Cubs at 2:00 local time on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it says if necessary. It looks like the Cubs game would be at 3:00 Eastern, 2 Central on Thursday as well. But we'll see if that gets moved with everything else. But they gave them. I'm surprised by that. It's Tigers Guardians at 1:00 Eastern, and then Padres Cubs at 3:00 Eastern. Yankees Red Sox got the primetime slot as kind of.
Of course they did.
Kind of expected, but 6:00 Eastern there, and then Reds Dodgers at 9 Eastern. That's good series for them. Seiya Suzuki finished the season strong. 2 homers on Thursday, a homer on Friday, a homer on Saturday, and a homer on Sunday. So save some of those for the playoffs, Seiya. But good end to the season for him. Hopefully he stays hot into the playoffs. You mentioned PCA. He had a good series, hitting 30-30 on the season. It took him a while, but he did finally get there. And he homered, what was that game? The Friday game. So Bush had a bunch of homers to end the season. 2-homer game on Saturday, homer on Friday.
Controversial walk by Oli Marmol, which I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, so he was a triple away from the cycle, and
single. He was a single away from the cycle.
A single away,
and he got walked on Saturday's game. I mean, how do you feel that?
I mean, I get it. You're playing to win the game, so I do respect that aspect. But it was also 7-3 Cubs at that point. It was pretty much over. Cardinal season over. It is a rivalry. These two teams don't like each other, and I don't know. I would have just pitched to the guy. I mean, again, the Cardinals aren't there to let guys hit for the cycle against them. You want to avoid hitting, your opponent hitting for the cycle on you. That is embarrassing. But go out and attack the guy, get him out with your pitches, not by just letting him get a walk. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of a soft move, to be honest.
No, on St. Louis. I think it could get really dark. I thought about this after they played the Yankees because we were watching them quite extensively during that weekend. But as the season went on, I just started to look at the roster, their composition, and what's coming out of their fan base, and it sounds dark. Again, we talk about often how their attendance is down. They got Bloom coming in. Not a clear guy to build around. Sonny Gray's kind of already. They were teasing it back a month ago when they played the Yankees, month and a half ago, that he was looking to pitch elsewhere. Now it's coming out more that he's open to pitching elsewhere and pitching in those big moments. Nola Arenado is thinking about also leaving, and truly they're not guys that are going to warrant a big package return. And, Mason Wynn played a whole year with a meniscus injury. I'm just anti playing through injury. I'm not a big fan of that, just as a personal thing. I mean, you do more damage than good. I mean, when you go to the negotiation table and there's oh, why did you hit 250 instead of hitting your normal 280? Oh, it was because I was hurt. Was it because you were hurt, or was it because you just aren't that player? Mm-hmm. So yet again, very interesting to see JJ Weather holds down in the minors. I don't know. I think it's going to get a lot darker in St. Louis before we see them rebound. So I feel sorry because they're a great fan base, and I feel that they deserve the best in the world.
Yeah, they finished 78-84, which is they finished 71-91 in 2023. Last year they finished 4 games over 500. But again, this is not a team that's used to winning 78 games. This is a franchise that's used to winning 80, 85 plus into the 90s, even into 100. They won 100 games in 2015, so 10 years ago now. So, yeah, I do agree. I think things can get dark. There's a lot of pressure on J.J. Weatherholt, I think, to be that guy. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar, but they have to have something they can point to and be that's the guy. They have some nice pieces, Brendan Donovan, Mason Wynn, but I think those are more ancillary pieces than superstar caliber. They do things really well. Obviously, Mason Wynn's an elite defender, probably going to win the Gold Glove in the National League at shortstop, but do they have that? I don't know. Fernando Tatis Jr., do they have that first half PCA type player? I don't know.
It'll be interesting. Let's put a bow on the NL again. Phillies won 2 out of 3 against Minnesota. Phillies won Friday 3-1. Aaron Nola had a great start, going 8 strong, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts. Now second in Phillies all-time strikeouts, passing Robin Roberts. Now sits behind Steve Carlton. Twins won on Saturday 5-0. And Phillies won 2-1 in 10 innings. Christopher Sanchez closed his year out with the 5 2/3, 8 strikeouts. Again, great season for the Phillies. Again, they've never been a question about them with the regular season as we put a bow on their 162. It's always a question is what they do after. I know Josh talked about it on our preview pod. We expect them to be there at the end. Now it's just the question is, will they produce in the end? This is crunch time. It's the business portion of the season. I fully expect to see great pitching from them. Let's see if the bats, guys like Harrison Bader, can hit. And let's see if Kyle Schwarber continues the MVP campaign into the postseason. I mean, we need to give some flowers to Kyle Schwarber in regards to what a year he's had. Kyle Schwarber, I know he's a DH and everything, but he's definitely made himself a lot of money. Hitting 241 this year, but 56 homers and 102 RBIs. We're going to have to start having conversations about Aaron Judge's record, that 62-63 number that he broke 2 years ago, I think that number is much more attainable in this year's baseball. Guys like Kyle Schwarber are hitting 56 home runs, and he's one of the best power hitters. I think a guy like Ohtani or some other superstar will be able to break that. But hats off to Kyle Schwarber, 4.7 WAR, OPS of 931, and a slugging of 566. Hats off to him.
Yeah, it's really hard to rack up WAR as a DH because obviously there's no defensive value there at all. There's actually they subtract away from your WAR because you're a DH. He did not get to 58, which is the franchise record for single season home runs. Ryan Howard had 58. Schwarber finishes with 56. What you got, like a slide grin?
No, I'm just thinking about the Phillies. I'm just thinking like what could happen in Philadelphia. Could you imagine Broad Street if they win a World Series? I was about to say a natty, but it's different.
Their season starts now. We knew they were going to be in the playoffs. They had a great regular season, ran away with the division with the Mets collapse. Duran finishes with 32 saves. Mick Abel came back and started against the Phillies, which I thought was interesting. He went 6 innings scoreless on Saturday. So Twins, that's another franchise putting a bow on their season. I think it can get pretty dark there. It got dark at the trade deadline. I still really like their farm system. But do they trade Joe Ryan this offseason? Do they trade Pablo Lopez this offseason? Do they trade both of them? I think one of them is for sure gone. What happens with Royce Lewis? Can he stay healthy for a season? Byron Buxton had a hell of a season. He finally had a healthy season, and he's probably thinking, like, what the heck, man? Like, the one season I'm fully healthy and I hit 35 home runs, 20-plus stolen bases, we do nothing. We're one of the worst teams in the league. It's got to be frustrating for him. He decided not to waive his no-trade clause at the deadline, and I don't know. I feel like he could be playing relevant baseball. It's not like the Twins have not been. The Twins have been a good team in recent memory. I think it was 2019 when they hit a ton of home runs. I forget what the nickname for that 2019 Twins team was, but Joe, if you're listening, let us know. That team was fun.
I think it's going to be a lot darker in St. Louis than Minnesota. I think Minnesota has a lot more. I think Minnesota's a much more cleaner slate than St. Louis. Call it a hot take. I think this is a scorching hot take. Again, they'll be able to trade Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez and get a really nice return. And their farm system already has guys that we look at that we can see, these are guys that can probably lead the franchise into the next era of Twins baseball.
Walker Jenkins is the kind of the guy I was thinking of.
Walker Jenkins. They also have Royce Lewis, Brooks Lee. There's already guys there. I like Luke Keyshaw a lot, the second baseman. Yeah. Like, there's already pieces there that like ancillary pieces and guys that could be those guys. And again, they're already bad enough, so they're going to have a good draft pick. It's not like St. Louis is always having to play the lottery game. They have to get lucky to move up in the lottery and get one of those blue chip talents. So
that's true. And the thing with the Twins is they sold a ton at the deadline. They gave away basically their whole team. They got a lot in return. Maybe some of these guys pan out. Eduardo Tate, they got from the Phillies, their top catching prospect. He's a top 100 guy in all of baseball, prospect-wise. He's their number 2 prospect behind Walker Jenkins right now. They got Emmanuel Rodriguez and Kalen Culpepper also in the top 100. So I do think there is more of an infrastructure there. It's just such a question mark of what the hell's going on with the ownership and their TV deal and stuff like that, where that's the concern. I can see it working out. And the thing is, they are in the perfect division to kind of go through this stuff to where it doesn't really matter year to year what you do, because it's not like your opponents are going to go out there and drop $500 million in free agency. It just doesn't happen in that division. We can talk about the Tigers-Red Sox series when we get to the AL, but Tigers probably aren't going to sign Skubal. Tigers aren't going to give him that contract, so he'll be out of the division. And the Guardians won the division this year, and they didn't really do much else offseason, so anything can happen from year to year in that division.
Patrick didn't know what to say. Patrick on the podcast was confused because they're like, we didn't make any freaking moves. He was like, yeah, man, I don't know who's our guy. But I think I'll clip this for the future. We look back at this in a year or 2 years. I think the Twins have a brighter future than the White Sox. And they will be in relevancy into 2 to 3 seasons.
As someone that lives in Chicago and has watched more White Sox baseball than I would have liked, I think I tend to agree with you there. The White Sox have a lot of good young talent, and Colson Montgomery could be a real dude for them. But I just feel like there is more there with Minnesota. White Sox got some good pitching, but again, Minnesota does have more established big league arms right now in Ryan and Lopez. So it's a hot take, but I kind of would tend to agree with you on that one, to be honest.
And I can see them being relevant in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, maybe even next year. Who knows?
I don't know, but
I think getting off the Correa money, I'm telling you, that's going to be worth it for them. Houston made that trade, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
Oh man, sorry, I'm watching the Mets Marlins highlights again. It is beautiful.
I was watching the Reds post game champagne celebrations.
But did you see the Mets breaking bats? Breaking bats. Pete Alonso saying, I'm opting out. Something's up. Something.
Alonso said that in his post game interview.
I don't know, but I did see him. I can't see it because I'm doing, but I did see him do post game. I'm just saying it's craziness that already 2 hours into the season, you're already saying that I'm going back to free agency.
This is what happened with Juan Soto last year, right after the World Series. He's like, I'm available to all 30 teams, and for Alonso to be such a lifelong Met and kind of be the face of that franchise, feels a little weird that he came out and said that right away.
I don't know, man. That's just nuts. I'll just say this: the biggest thing I like to say is back to my Twins point. Like I said, the Twins are going to be a problem here soon. Okay. If they do it right, I think they can. They can be a problem. Again, let's finish the NL quickly because we don't need to talk about it. Okay, Colorado, San Francisco, Giants swept. Won 6-3 on Friday, 4-3. Verlander was pretty good, 6-2 earned, 7 strikeouts. Will be interesting to see where he will be pitching next season. Yep. Rapid fire. What do you think he pitches next season?
Random team, Pittsburgh.
It can't happen because he's a big market. Remember, he's a big market pitcher.
He is a big market merchant. Although Detroit, he pitched a lot of his career in Detroit. Let's see.
I can see that. Detroit does have a couple openings in their rotation. Oh, 1 year, and let's do that. Maybe we could put that as a clip. Justin Verlander ends his year off with the Tigers, 1 year contract to take him into the next era of Detroit Tiger baseball.
Into the Hall of Fame.
Giants today won 4-0. Webb last outing 5 1/3, 0 earned, 8 strikeouts. Again, San Francisco. Let's see if they keep spending money. I think they had they could be spending more money this offseason. Rafi Devers played 163 games this year.
Yeah, he did. I saw that.
Which is pretty cool. Pittsburgh, Atlanta. Pittsburgh won 2 out of 3 off of Atlanta. They won Friday 9-3. Michael Harris has a 2020 season for the first time in his career. Pirates won on Saturday 3-1. Braves won 4-1. And the Charlie Morton last start potentially. Looks like he's calling it a career. Acuna hit homer 21. Again, we'll be interested to see what the Braves do. I do think the Braves will be back, but yet again, I sound like a broken record because we always say that they will be back and they're never back. So
we do say that every year. Pittsburgh, I can't believe Pittsburgh's over-under heading into the season was 77.5, but they finished with 71 wins. So, a lot of pressure on them this offseason. I think the Braves can be in World Series contention next year, but again, it's just a matter of them doing it. The Braves had the second highest over-under in the National League this year at 93.5, and obviously it went well under. They finished 76 and 86. Yeah. Again, the third wildcard team won 83 games this year, so the Braves were a bad week or week and a half away from making the playoffs, and they just didn't get it done.
Hey, what if how different would their season be if they had a healthy Acuna all season for one, and you also to add if they didn't start the year out with LA and San Diego, where they went 0-7.
Yeah, and Strider finishes with a 4.45 ERA. He wasn't good this season. Obviously had, Sale on the shelf for a lot of the season with that rib injury. Just kind of a season from hell from them. Austin Riley got hurt. So
a lot of waiver claims with Alek Manoah now.
They're working the waiver wire like crazy.
They're like a fantasy football owner trying to get out the gutter.
Some of these waiver wire claims that they put in, I think, are going to have a positive impact on their season next year.
Who did they pick up that you really liked? I know they picked up Noah, and I was like,
Halcyon Kim.
No, there's another guy other than HSK.
Oh, I'll have to look.
You texted me about it. I was like, oh man, the Braves are going crazy on the wire right now.
Yeah, no, I know. I sent you a text the other day. Kim was one of them. Brett Wisely. They got Vidal Brujan, Joey Wentz, Joel Payamps, Jake Fraley. But I feel like the main one was Kim.
Oh God,
Yeah,
that's a naughty one.
Alek Manoah was the interesting one.
Alek Manoah is an interesting one, but we'll be interested to see what he shows up to as next year.
Alexis Diaz from the Dodgers. I know he struggled this year, but I could figure it out.
That's who it was. Who else do we have missing in the NL? We talked about them. White Sox, Nationals. White Sox won 2 out of 3. Won 10-9 on Friday. Nationals won 6-5 on Saturday, and then the White Sox won today 8-0. I mean, talk about it. Nationals, attitude, didn't they? Not looking good for them right now. James Wood struck out 221 times this year, and there's only 2 players with more strikeouts in the season. Can you name them?
Of all time?
All time, yeah.
Joey Gallo.
Adam Dunn and Mark Reynolds.
Okay.
222 and 223.
Yeah, so they finished with, 66 wins. Their over-under heading into the season was 72. I took the over. They went well under. And then the White Sox, the White Sox finished with 60 wins. They got it. Last year they were at 41, so it's a good improvement for them.
Good improvement. Let's talk about some AL action. Where do we start? You want to start AL East, Central, Wild Card?
I guess Central on the Wild Card, yeah.
Let's talk about the Central. 2 series of note. Detroit Tigers versus the Boston Red Sox. Boston Red Sox had an electric game on Friday night, winning 4-3, walking it off of a Cedar Rafael RBI triple in the 9th, clinching that playoff spot for the first time since 2021. 12 walk-offs this season, 6 of those coming in those Fenway greens that you guys may know William does not enjoy.
Well, no. I like the uniforms. They're pretty. I just don't like that they wear them all the time.
Boomer take. It's a boomer take, you said. Okay. Yeah. Sox pen went 6 innings pitched scoreless. Saturday, they were hungover. They had a lot of their social media team was working overtime with all the pictures and whatnot. I don't think there was a single sober player on Saturday's game. Tigers won 2-1. Tigers clinched the playoff spot, and today the Red Sox won 4-3. Tigers really put out Chris Paddock, who they've already moved to the bullpen, so they kind of put up a flag that whatever happens. So will be interesting to see what happens with these 2 teams. Detroit, by virtue of Cleveland's win today, is the wild card seed is the 6. Cleveland ended up winning today in a walk-off fashion, as we said earlier, off of Brian Rocchio, three-run bomb at the end. CJ Cayavos walked it off Saturday night, winning 3-2 with a hit by a pitch to clinch the playoff spot. And then the Rangers won 7-3 on Friday. Again, William, let's talk about it. We have a Guardians-Tigers Central Block Wild Card Series. Again, talk about the comeback as we talked about last week. Coming back from 15.5 games is something remarkable that we don't really see. To 15.5 games, if you really think about it. I was explaining this to my mother. Coming back from 15.5 games, and to the person that doesn't know baseball, that is close to playing 2 weeks and a half, close to 2 weeks and a half to 3 good weeks of baseball. That you have to play good baseball and the other team has to play bad. Because let's be in general, baseball teams in the MLB play 6 to 7 games. I'm leaning towards the 6 then a week. If there's an off game or whatever, 6 a week. So that means they have to have 3 good weeks to do it.
Yep.
Because then you get 18 and you go ahead. What a comeback from Cleveland. My question is now, would you want to face the Guardians in the postseason? They're the hottest team right now. They've been in playoff mode since the month started. I would not want to be facing Cleveland because again they've been locked in and dialed in. Mm-hmm. And again, they're gonna keep the train on moving this week with the home game.
Yeah, so I got the bracket up for those watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. You can watch on Spotify too. We post the video podcast there. They're playing the Tigers, and I feel like it would just be peak baseball for the Tigers to blow this division and then go into Cleveland and win the wild card series. Again, I would not want to play the Guardians right now. It's kind of a voodoo magic team. They don't hit home runs, but they just kind of get these infield singles. Other team, they run the bases well and they put pressure on the other teams and force errors. They walk off it by pitch on Saturday. Like it's ugly winning, but it's winning nonetheless. They finished 19-7 in September. I don't know if that includes today. So 20-7 or 19-7 in the month of September. Pretty much 500 or below 500 in every other month. They went 14-13 in August. So it was really this hot September that clinched it for them. And hats off to them. Yes, the Bears blocked the kick and the Bears are going to win. Yes. Sorry. I had the Bears game on in the background and they just blocked the game-winning field goal from the Raiders. It's going to be 2-2. Good day for Chicago sports. But on the Guardians, they're going to have to face Scooble game one because the Tigers did not have to pitch him on Sunday. That's a redemption start for him. I don't want to step on the playoff preview too much, but I don't know. I mean, Seattle's in the better side of the bracket, playing the Central Block versus the Yankees have an absolute gauntlet. Red Sox, then if they win that, they play the Blue Jays.
I mean, it's going to be a tough season and postseason. I mean, again, I wouldn't want to face the Guardians. And right now, the Tigers are a team that I would want to be playing because, again, they're a scuffling team. Scooble wasn't great at the end. Again, I think we need to talk about how bad Detroit's been playing. We've talked about how bad they were. We saw the signs coming from the All-Star break. Go back to listen, like you said on last pod. Again, Seattle has a really favorable, like you said, they were your pick to start the year. They have a very favorable run to the postseason. And we talked about them. They got swept versus the Dodgers, but were they playing for anything? Not really. If we really want to go and talk about collapses, you can talk about Houston collapsing. Mm-hmm. Astros won 2 out of 3, but the Angels did work on Friday, winning 4-3.
That's what kept the Astros out of the playoffs. Sorry to interrupt, but Astros won on Saturday and Sunday and lost on Friday. And ultimately, that's what made the difference. Had the Astros won on Friday, they would have been in the playoffs.
Again, they were up 3-0 in the fourth, but the Angels clawed back with a Trout solo homer. Again, Mike Trout playing meaningful baseball. 2 things that don't go together. And eighth off Brian King to make it 4-3. I mean, talk about it, William. What a year for Houston. Again, they were probably one of the scariest teams, but it's just the injuries caught up to them. And it'll be interesting what they do in the offseason. Again, they are an aging core. We'll see what they do with the whole – see what Carlos Correa happens. Again, Jose Altuve will be back. Wolframber Valdez re-sign. Again, they developed arms really well, but it'll be interesting if they can replicate this. How will Josh Hader come back? Josh Hader was probably the best closer in the majors this year, pre-injury. Him and Roberto Suarez from the Robert Suarez from the Padres were really good. So
and Chapman,
yeah, Chapman too. But I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's Carlos Correa said I think this weekend that they're on paper the team to beat, and you're not even in the playoffs. A bit of a season from hell from them, pretty much playing 500 baseball from July on, a little bit below 500 actually. Injuries just came back to bite them, and unfortunate reality, but that's kind of what happened. Again, they were so close to making the playoffs. Had they won Friday, they would have been in. Kyle Hendricks, in what could have been the last start of his career, 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned, 8 strikeouts in 108 pitches, finishes the season with a 4.76. I do feel like that ERA is a little bit misleading and that he had a few blow-up starts, but there were also some really good starts mixed in there. I think if he wanted to go again next season, I think he could be a valuable contributor to a team. I still think the talent is there, but I don't know. Should it be frustrating that the Astros didn't make the playoffs? Yes, of course. If you're an Astros fan, it's frustrating, but this is their first time missing the playoffs since 2016. Like, they kind of had their run. The Tigers knocked them out of the wild card last year. I didn't like the Correa trade for them at all. I don't think it makes sense moving on to that money. He's a guy that's, has dealt with injury his whole career. that's going to be something to watch. I know there's a lot of vesting options in that deal, and it might not be as bad as it seems right now, but we'll see. Be curious to see what happens with Kenley Jansen this offseason. Where does he go? Trying to get to what, second or third all time in the closer in the saves rankings. They finish 72 and 90, so another Angel season for you. Their over under was 71.5. Wow, so their over under was 71.5, and it cashed today, or it cashed on Friday. So we both took their over, so that'll cash.
Let's go. I mean, I don't have anything on the Angels. They're just a really peculiar team to me. But like putting a bow on the AL. Royals won 2 out of 3 versus the A's. These two teams are going to be interesting to me on what they do the offseason. I mean, the Royals, I'd like to see them get more productive bats and get that lineup up to par next to Bobby Witt. And with the A's, again, I want to see them get pitching. And I think these two teams, if they make the right moves, will be very trendy picks to go on a run for the offseason. Because, I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. is just an all-world talent that doesn't get talked about enough. And with the A's, I mean, you have the Langoliers, Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, core, which I think that's your Mount Rushmore right now with the A's.
Yeah. The Royals have Jack Caglione, so maybe that's a guy that they're going to rely on to bolster that lineup. Salvi will be back for another season. He had a great season. I believe Carlos Estevez finished with the most saves in all of baseball, 42. They brought him in last offseason, so he'll be back. Mike Yastrzemski was a great trade deadline acquisition for them. And then Carter Jensen, another young guy for them. So there's some talent. Nick Kurtz finishes the season with 36 home runs. The Royals are a team – sorry, Nick Kurtz, A's, but the Royals are a team that I think can go out and win the division next season. Again, that division is such a crapshoot. They have the talent. They were there in 2024. Just a down year, battled some injuries as teams do, but they just took a little bit of a step back. But there's no reason to think that they can't be back next season. And it's a front office that has put in the investment behind the team to make them, relevant with Bobby Witt. So outlook. I still think is positive on the Royals.
Man, this podcast feels so somber. It's so sad. I feel like we're putting teams down. It's like a funeral for these teams. Like we're just like not lacking energy, but I feel like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
It is the last Sunday of the season is always a little bit sad and nostalgic because the baseball season is now fleeting and the dark, cold winter is on the horizon where we don't have baseball. Obviously, we still have the best part of the season with the playoffs, but a lot of these teams, like I said earlier, their fans aren't going to be able to watch them until next March in meaningful baseball. So, yeah, it is a little sad. There is definitely a little sad feeling on game 162.
Blue Jays swept the Rays.
Told you.
Rays cannot pay back the Yankees for taking their minor league stadium and using it for a season.
Couldn't even get one game. Not even really close.
One game. 4-2 on Friday, 5-1 on Saturday, and 13-4. It wasn't even close today. William was saying some things I cannot repeat on podcasts about some of the Blue Jays players. William comes on very rational, but he sometimes can get very irrational on the podcast, offline. Again, Anthony Santander came back last week. So, hey, Blue Jays getting ready for the postseason. Congratulations, you've won the AL East. We will see you at the Fortress in Canada.
First time since 2015 they win to the division.
We will see you at the Fortress in Canada. Let's just put it at that.
They finished 54 and 27 at home. Alejandro Kirk 3 for 5 on Sunday, 2 home runs, one of which was a grand slam, 6 RBIs, and a double. He was incredible and carried them to a victory. Ian Seymour, the Rays rookie pitcher that they ran out there today, just looked absolutely terrified. 3 1/3. 6 innings. You could see he was nervous the whole time. The Rays rested Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau. They didn't try. Meanwhile, the Orioles are out here. They bring in one of their best pitchers, Kyle Bradish. You got Dean. They bring in Dean Kramer in relief, a pretty good starting pitcher.
Salt, you salty? Bro, this is a salty Yankees man right here. I'm telling you right now.
I'm telling you, man, the Rays let the Blue Jays win the division.
I'm telling you right now. Yet again, it'll be very interesting to see. But let's talk about it. Yankees weekend.
One more thing. It was interesting that they did bring in Kevin Gausman to pitch on Sunday, their ace, because had they lost that game and the Yankees had won, he would have been unavailable basically for the wild card series. So
Tune-up start.
He wasn't great. 3 2/3, 4 earned runs, 3 earned runs. Sorry, 4 earned runs. Wasn't great. 8 hits allowed. So I don't know. Again, I don't want to step on the playoff preview too much, but it's gonna be a tough place to win.
I will spoil the playoff preview now. William he wants Canada. He wants to go into Canada. He is very looking like that. He's not overlooking the Red Sox. He's not. But William is he wants to go to the fortress. He's ready to go to battle. He's like Jon Snow. I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I could be chatting BS. But William is ready to get on the horse with a sword to walk into Canada and go to the north. Winter is coming. He wants Toronto.
That's division rival. You want to beat if the Yankees are going to get to the CS, you got to beat your division rivals. So,
I mean, let's talk about the Yankees week in review again, as we always do. Now, this is at the end of the podcast today. Very anticlimactic. We always review the week that was for the New York Yankees. This week, the Yankees finished off their season with a 3-game set with the Orioles. Yankees won 8-4 on Friday. William was saying some things about Will Warren that I cannot say on podcast.
He will not be in the playoff rotation, or he might not even pitch at all in the playoffs.
Yankees pen was okay. 5 walks, 6 strikeouts, going 4 strong, no earned. Yankees won yesterday. Cam Schluttler, 7 strong, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. William is putting the stamp that he needs to be pitching either game 2 or 3.
Yep.
And today's game, William has Yankees won 3-2. William is sending Luis Hill to the Shadow Realm. Luis Hill to the Shadow Realm. Send him to the bullpen. Ben Rice, 2-homer game, making the difference. Penn went 4 strong, 2 hits, 0 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. The Yankees finished the year with an 8-game winning streak, 94 wins for the second straight season. Boston waits them at home on tomorrow, Tuesday. They wait them tomorrow. Garrett Crochet will assume he'll be pitching game 1. William, how do you feel after this weekend set? How do you feel going into the postseason?
Well, I feel great in the way the Yankees closed out the season. They did really well in that 12-game stretch. They beat up on the bad teams. They won 8 straight to end the season. They took care of their business. But it's a best 2 out of 3 series, and they have a Cy Young caliber pitcher coming into New York. Now, I will say this. I was thinking about this a lot today because there was the possibility that the Yankees could have played the Tigers. The Yankees only faced Tarek Skubal once this season. They faced Garrett Crochet a bunch. I was getting to the point where I'm like, I'd rather probably play Boston. I could regret these words, but I would rather play Boston because you face Crochet a bunch of times. You know his stuff better than what Skubal has. It's also a Red Sox team without Roman Anthony. They shipped him off to Fort Myers to rehab the injury. He's not going to be on the wild card roster. So obviously Boston, great team, tons of talent. It's going to be a brutal matchup for the Yankees. The Red Sox dominated the Yankees this whole season. But maybe you want to face Crochet over Skubal just because you faced him so many times this season. Great job by Ben Rice today. 2-home run game. Great season for him in general. 26 on the season. Judge got up to 53 home runs on Saturday. Again, I think he's your MVP in the American League. I'm sorry. People are going to be upset with that. Again, I would be pro co-MVPs at this point. I think they're both very deserving. Stanton 2 home runs on Friday. Homered again on Saturday. Like, the guys are hot right now. Can they continue that into playoffs? That's the biggest thing. And this is time for Judge to make his legacy. Postseason Judge. It's been an issue, but he's got opportunity here again to change the narrative.
Garrett Crochet pitched the Yankees 4 times this season. 3 wins, no losses, 1 no decision. On all of his starts, he has 7 or more strikeouts. So in each of his starts, he's gone 6+. So you can they'll be ready. But this is where it comes down to, William. It's the business portion of the season. The postseason has arrived. It's where legends are made, where moments that we remember from years on end, we remember. The Yankees have an opportunity. The team that wins will be the team that makes the most out of their opportunity. Again, we saw it a couple of years ago with the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. We see moments like David Freese in 2013. I believe it was 2013, where he hit the triple against the Texas Rangers.
2011 or 2013, I can't remember. Yeah.
I can't remember. But yet again, this is where legends are made. And again, for the New York Yankees, the regular season does not matter. Nobody, when you put those pinstripes on, nobody remembers what you do in 162. What people remember is this: the rings that you have on your fingers, the championships, the banners. Putting up 28 means more than winning 100 games. And yet again, that is what the Yankees season will be defined upon.
Yeah. All the pressure in the world on them. Going to be freed probably game one here. So Boston, it felt like they were on a crash course for a lot of the second half. It felt like these two teams were going to match up. And sure enough, they do. I'm going to sound like a salty Yankee fan here, but I think it's kind of stupid that the Yankees can finish tied for the second best record in the American League and have to play as the 4 seed in the wild card series. I think, yes, you should. If you win your division, you should automatically qualify for the playoffs, of course. But I think the seeding should go by your record. So I think the Yankees should be the 1, or the Blue Jays should be the 1, Yankees 2, Mariners 3, Red Sox 4, Guards and Tigers 5 and 6. I don't make the rules. This is what we got. The Yankees got to play Boston.
Again, we're going to find out. Do we got some puppies or we got some dogs on this team?
Yeah.
We got puppies or we got dogs? We got players that are going to live up to the moment and want to rise to the occasion. We're going to have players that are going to want to go to Cabo when the weather hits 30 degrees in New York. So
I really hope not. The Guardians finished with a -6 run differential, and they're in the playoffs. Rockies finished with a -424 run differential, which is more than double the second worst of the Nationals at 212. That is insane.
Shout out the Rockies, my guy. Shout out the Rockies to close the podcast. Yeah, 43 and 119. Seventh worst, tied for the seventh worst record since the 1900. Worst run differential since 1900. Worst rotation ERA in MLB history. Whew. Rockies fans, there's only one way. Up.
Yeah. Oh, I think, we talk about staying loyal to your teams and how changing fandom is sacrilegious in sports, but I would not put it against Rockies fans to change their allegiances and just go root for the Diamondbacks or something. Go root for the Dodgers.
Giants. Go root for the Giants.
I'd be okay with you guys glory hunting.
Bailey, who I'm seeing this week, Bailey had a really tough time this season with the A's, with Mason Miller. After I explained the Mason Miller trade, he was like, okay, I'm not switching my allegiance to the Dodgers.
You talked him off the ledge?
I talked him off the ledge. He was like, Luis, it's tough. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this losing anymore. They already took my team away from the Bay, and now we're going to Vegas. And so
I saw they're going to be wearing uniforms next year with Sacramento on the chest. Just thought it was kind of interesting.
It'll be nice. So
yeah,
well, we'll be back tomorrow. Pod tomorrow night, but you guys will get it in your inboxes probably Tuesday morning. So enjoy the night off tomorrow from baseball. We will come back with the playoff preview and awards preview tomorrow night. William, any closing remarks?
No, that's all I got. Fun episode, fun regular season. Now we're getting to the meat and the meat and bones of the Major League Baseball season. So I'm very excited to preview the playoffs with you tomorrow. Nervous for the Yankees, but excited for October baseball. There's nothing better in sports than October baseball. So, Luis, thank you as always. We will be back, like we said, tomorrow night for our full playoff preview. But until then, catch you guys next time. Peace out.